Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with another Build Beauties today. Now, of course, I have a returning guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, most of you know me, Casey, Casey Hansman, Midwest player, mostly from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and of course, this is your runner-up World Martial Arts Tournament. Was the Gencon Fanzy OP event this year, and this was the runner-up deck with commanding Hero Boo. Of course, I think you went undefeated until finals. Is that correct?
No, but I did beat the champion Vinny DeLuca in Swiss, so
Mm.
we went 1-1 versus each other, so almost.
Yeah, and of course, I actually had recently I've re-recorded Vinny's Ruthless Vegeta from the previous event that he did in South Kai. So it's cool to see him running that again and actually winning uh, the event. But bummer for you, I suppose. But ultimately,
Mhm.
ultimately, Hero Boo. We've talked a lot about Hero Boo on this channel recently in a Meta Talk video and talk about how good of an MP he is. Of course, Casey, you've been a big Hero Boo player for a while. I know you were. Rocking a couple different styles with him, but you chose commanding. So I'm curious, what's kind of the benefit and strengths of commanding Hero Boo here?
Um, first of all, I think commanding is underplayed, but actually I started off with amplified. Um, I was trying to do like gravity training drill combos and using booze drill and other things like some other red style drills. But ultimately, I I, I kind of figured commanding was better. It lets you be much more aggressive. Add some mods. It works really well with Boo. Once you get off level 1, you've got rejuve abilities. So you're reaching from the bottom to get to other cards for your mastery. So, if you've got a confrontation or just a non-attack in the way, you can get it out of the way while ultimately just not really slowing yourself down.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, of course, level two has the bottom of pile rejuve on hit. You have level three, of course, lets you pick any card, and then level four, of course, another back to the bottom too. So a lot of pile fixing.
Yeah,
Um,
and plus with we'll get into B, but you get to do a lot of stuff twice too. So
yeah. So yeah, let's kind of get into the board cards here. You opted to run Candy Beam, and then of course you have one of each of the. Or sorry, you only have actually. You don't actually have all three.
no, I don't. I wasn't really afraid of setups, to be honest with you. And part of that might have been with the World Martial Arts Tournament. There's only one of every MP, and the MPs that are going to be played. So that kind of went into it a little bit, but ultimately, I don't think I really needed too much. But that's which is my thought process. I thought maybe the ally tech and the drill tech is a little bit more useful.
And then of course you did run one absorbing drill.
Yeah,
No way to fetch this though. So how did this card kind of make the cut?
it's just too good, I think, to not have. To be honest, I mean, I toyed with the idea of Tree of Might as an unleash target slash a tutor for the drill, but it's if you draw it, it's really good. If you don't draw it, I don't think you're in trouble.
Mm, that's fair. And of course you have B and Hercule. Yeah, Hirabu is going to run these guys always. Three red
Right.
Burning Rage and three Relaxation. Relaxation, everybody runs Relaxation, but Burning Rage, man. Oh man,
Mhm.
we're talking a little bit about this card, but how do you feel about this card?
So yeah, Red Burning Rage, dude. It's not for every MP. Of course, usually I think when people think of red setups, you're thinking Red Destiny, even Red Blaze, and then like you said, Red Relaxation, which relaxation with the commanding mastery, manipulating the bottom of your discard pile is huge. Plus hand advantage. But anyway, Red Burning Rage. I reached out to a few people, you included, about my list, just kind of getting thoughts. And I think literally every single person was like, "Do you need this?" Or "That's what I would cut. That's the first thing I'd go." And honestly, in my testing, I had tested this deck for a while, and I think part of it is kind of the unknown because Hero Boo I think is underplayed still. He's really good, but Red Burning Rage it it gives me that not dig effect because they can't use endurance, so they can technically prevent an attack. But there's no endurance on all my attacks, or actually you just can't use it in general. Technically, is what the wording is. But so for Hero Boo, and using B as an extension of his powers, using it twice, I'm getting that mod, and you can't use endurance on my levels. So not only am I using 2 attacks if I level, it's another 2 attacks. If you don't have a block, my level 2 and 3 is four attacks that crit. But it also raises your anger 1 and adds a mod, which I think is undervalued, or not undervalued, but I think is not valued enough. But I was going to say something else about Boo's MP in general.
Just all the
There, and I can't think of it.
Having an attack on every level makes this card incredibly consistent, I think.
Right, it's good for the non-styled attacks, which your MP is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it puts every one of your levels other than 1 into crit range, just guaranteed. Not that you have the problem with 4, but 3 sometimes you won't get the modifier. But yeah, no, very very powerful.
Right, and I can ditch the card too if I need to, if I draw into it, or even if I just draw it on my turn and I want to stay aggressive.
Yeah. Of course, benefit of the commanding mastery, as you said, being more aggressive, fixing the pile a lot with Boo's powers. We'll keep that on note when we get to some later cards. I do have some commentary, but
sorry, don't mean to cut you off. I just remembered what I was going to say. Red doesn't have the luxury that some other styles like orange, sand, even black and Namekian, like of just throwing a deck together and have 55 endurance. I think I have around 35-ish endurance. So, it helps close that gap. I was playing Eric actually one day, and he was playing some, I don't know, whatever random orange deck. I'd be throwing attacks for four or 5 life cards consistently, and he's taking 2 off the top, where he throws an attack for 5, and I'm taking 4 and 5 off after every turn. I'm like, man, there's got to be a way to close that gap, and this card just works perfectly for it.
No, totally fair. We'll move on to the attacks here. You only run 2 physical attacks, of course, Wall Breaker for the anger control. Red really struggles with anger still, I think, and then of course the Gambit at 3. Total sense. Did you ever explore?
Yeah, Wall Breaker's not a fun card to run, but I think like you said, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Especially for red.
Yeah.
And then Gambit's an auto include. I can't win by MPV anyway, so.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll get into some of the energy attacks. I mean, this is mostly an energy list. Controlled Blast, of course, can be used as a physical stop. I'm assuming that's the only reason why you have it in here at all.
I didn't. Yeah, a lot of energies, like you said. I don't want to get stage locked. So between that as an attack or block, allies that take some stages, me leveling, kind of helps versus the stage lock or physical. Usually physical deck. If there's a heavy meta, which I think physical decks are coming back pretty strong with Vegeta doing well.
Yeah. Of course, 2 Clearing Blast. This card is great. I mean, I think your deck already has the Rejuve engine built into it from Boo, so I feel like a 2 of this is probably like. I feel like this card isn't that important in the deck, but that's maybe me.
Yeah, I mean it's not crucial. But it's a good card.
Yeah.
The best. Well, I said like. With my energy block package, the number 1 goal for me was to prevent myself from being unleashed down, because so many people play Unleashed. It's one of the best cards in the game. So you've got Tandem Blast and Combined Blast, with Twin Beams and whatnot. But I'll tell you, with the energy attacks, other than that, Red Left Bolt is like an MVP kind of card. When you combine that with Boo, I can, if I'm rejuvening a Confrontation or an Unleashed or whatever. I'm doing that in tandem with my mastery. It has a lot of synergy there, but then I can draw it whenever I really want to. So Left Bolt, I think, is criminally underrated for commanding, but especially when you have Rejuve powers.
Yeah, of course. Again, between the pile fixing, bottom of deck fixing for Left Bolt, any Rejuve MP, especially if you have selective Rejuve, should really be rocking Left Bolt.
Right.
Also coming in for 6 life automatically with the master is pretty good. You opted to run the 3 Candy Beam. Only 2 Energy Blast. Is this just kind of because you have to auto banish your ally with this card?
A little bit of it. With Boo though, once you get to level 3, a lot of times you want to get rid of your ally because you want that extra mod. it's almost a disadvantage in certain scenarios if you're at a higher level and you have the allies in the field because you want that damage buff. But it's a good tech card. Again, I've got the versatility to drop it if I need my ally on the field. But I've also got candy beams, so I figured 5 attacks that are board tech like that would be a good number.
Hmm. And then, of course, you've already mentioned the Tana Blast and Combine Blast being mostly anti-unleash tech.
Yeah,
And then, of course, you
but it helps for other cards too. But confrontation, unleash, time. Those are cards almost or stare down. Cards most decks will be running, so it helps not only protect myself but hurt you as well.
do you generally find yourself dropping level or paying anger for the Tana Blasts?
Usually anger. If it's late game and I think my lower level dropping to it, if I have enough firepower, I'll just go ahead and do it. If I think it's going to win me the game. But if it's not, I usually opt for the anger if possible.
And then, of course, Twin Beams being able to sit in your pile and pay for both Combine Blast and Tandem Blast for free.
Right. Shout out Kevin.
Yeah, no, I think this is the best spread energy in the game, but hey, what do I know? I will fight people. Of course, you do have the 2 Guilty Flash. This card, I see a lot of people jump between like 1 and 2. Was 2 the right number for you?
I think so. 3 is definitely too much for sure. But it combos well with Twin Beams. It comes in for 6 twice if you get the combo off. You get some stages back if you're from the discard pile. And it's also got immediate anger gain, so if you're using it once or twice, it also helps with that.
You don't run Stack Shot.
I don't. That one was a difficult decision, actually. I found myself not having that many styled attacks after it. Immediate anger became more important than the hit Raise My Anger 2 from static. And it just, people can block that too. So it just, timing wise, it wasn't working with what I was trying to do, especially with a lot of the deck is built on leveling up and using Boo multiple times. And then having extra attacks, or if I have an extra attack after that, it really helps. But I mean, like with certain things like left bolt, the timing wise, a lot of times I'm using it to try and draw a card. Or if I enter and I can use the effect of combine blast or Tana Blast, I'm definitely doing that first. So the timing of static just didn't quite fit the optimal build in my opinion.
Whereas Burning Rage, and I mean, I guess you're running Burning Rage to kind of almost but Burning Rage, of course,
exactly
has better synergy with your levels, does the same thing essentially.
Exactly, and we also you and I talked about Dig a little bit, but I just didn't want to put another flat stage damage deck in this, or a card in this deck when I'm clearly going for life beats.
Yeah, the stage damage would be very out of. I mean, my advocation for Dig is that BeautieZ is such a good Dig MP because you can. With him leveling, you're going to be throwing 2 attacks a lot of time if you have B out versus your opponent
Right.
one.
Definitely a good card. It works with the hero Boo. I don't know. I just didn't sit right with me in the deck versus I think Burning Rage was the better option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it makes complete sense. Like I said, again, you got to finals with this deck. You had a really good Swiss record. Obviously, you didn't miss the dig or the static shot. So I think it's really. I mean, we keep again, Burning Rage. I think is the coolest card in the deck because I think this card is great. It just never makes lists ever. But Boo is a great candidate for this card, having life card attacks.
Yeah, exactly, and Boo is one of the most unique MPs in the game when you consider B and Hercule attached to it. That's you gotta consider B and Hercule just as an extension of his power.
Yeah.
Almost like Captain Ginyu, you're using the Ginyu first. Right.
Yeah. Moving off the text here. So now this is where it kind of gets interesting. Is I think commanding lists can kind of differ a bit.
Agreed.
You don't run any. I guess you don't run red energy deflection. You run red clap instead, and then you do have evasive maneuver. but you don't run elbow block. So there's kind of like some of the pile manipulation stuff, but
Mhm.
I feel like the argument is that because Boo has onboard pile manipulation, you don't necessarily need as much of it. Is that kind of where I'm getting at with like looking at your block lineup here?
Somewhat. So clap and energy deflection, I went back and forth on. I think red sacrifice and red escape were not negotiable. They're in there for what I have. Especially if you set time sacrifice right. Again, boo, level jumping, using powers more than once. Sacrifice, make an attack unpreventable, gaining 2 immediate anger. That is sacrifice is one of the combos you can do with Gambit to auto level, but I I ultimately went with clap. The immediate effects of both are kind of trade-offs in my opinion, but I ultimately went with the discard effect of clap over energy deflection because this is rejuving. I'm not shuffling, so it doesn't interfere with me trying to use left bolt to combo with that. But also, energy deflection shuffles 3 styled in, so I have a fair amount of non-styled cards. If I've got an event or like a boost company or confrontation or something at the bottom,
Yeah,
discarding that does nothing for me.
that's totally fair. Yeah. Uh, Good explanation on that one. I like
But
that.
I do think overall energy deflection is probably a better card, but I think clap works better for what I was going with.
Hmm. Of course, you actually run really light on like the physical block lineup. Only 2 blocking hand, 2 evasive maneuver, 2 reverse. Of course, reverse is just kind of in here as an unleash target. Did you feel like so? What was kind of the thought process? I mean, you went 2 control blast instead of going like a 3 of evasion or 3 of blocking hands.
Again, control blast gives me the versatility to stay aggressive or to block an attack. It's got immediate anger too. Blocking hand, of course, has immediate anger. I didn't feel the need to have 3 of that because I was leveling up almost every game anyway. Evasion maneuver combos so well with commanding when I'm talking about left bolt. That's banish after use. Gambit's banish after use. I'm banishing twin beams. Um, you know, Combined blast has endurance. So
That is
let's see.
true. You do
So
get to put twin beams back in the pile if you just do it for effects.
mhm,
That's actually pretty neat. That's true. You can always throw it on the
yeah,
top too, so it doesn't
and
interfere
then
mastery.
yeah, clearing blast has endurance too. So and that gives me a decent effect when I'm using it from the discard pile with the mastery as well. So there's a lot of really good combos that you can do and keep the deck very versatile. And like I said, I don't have to worry about too much about leveling. By if I ran 3 blocking hands, I don't think it's bad. But evasive maneuver, I think, lets you stay even more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Put a lot of pressure on people. And then red reverse, like you said, it's mostly an unleash target.
Yeah. Moving into the event lineup, we find our 2 other unleashed targets in the deck. Of course, Boo's Company. I don't ever see Boo really ever run 3 of this, but I always usually see 2.
I think that's the right number. Drawing an extra one, I can still play it. I just doesn't attach, but I can also use it in my off turn. It's planning step. 3 endurance is good for the deck too. But yeah, you don't really want it late game unless you really have to have that ally from whatever pile. But you automatically get one, or your main strategy is to try and get one on with Boo level 1 as soon as possible. Some scenarios it's not always the case, but for the most part, you're trying to get B on the field as fast as possible.
Of course, we have 3 confrontation. You opted for confrontation, maybe like over sphere. Do you feel like that was the right call?
Yes, since I'm playing Tana Blast and Combined Blast. Just yeah, I think I can stay more aggressive with those rather than sitting on a sphere.
That makes sense. And then of course, time and unleashed at 3. There's pretty
Right.
much no reason not to. Like Boo is literally made to be ran with unleashed, with company being a named card.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think that needs
Yeah,
any
the only issue you can potentially run into is using it too early and someone leashes you back down. Sorry.
You're okay.
But yeah, I tried to build the deck to not get unleashed back down if possible, and that's what 3 confrontations are there for as well, to try and hit that unleash or whatever the most deadly card in your hand is, of course.
So going forward here, again, list looks pretty solid for the most part. Do you feel there are any changes coming after the World Martial Arts Tournament experience that you had?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, you could change a small number and still be as effective. You said Clearing Blast isn't the most important card in the deck. The block lineup you could fool with a little bit depending on how you like to play. For the way I like to play, I think it's the right number. Yeah, I don't think there's really, and Wall Breaker again was more needed than the want to play it, I guess,
There's
if that makes
there's
sense.
there's just no option other than Wallbreaker, unfortunately.
Right, but I
May,
mean, also with the MPs that were selected for the martial arts tournament, again, I can see what you're playing. I thought it was necessary with Joey had Piccolo, Vinny had Vegeta. There was a Frieza, I believe, which actually didn't use the new level one, so that was a whiff. But if you use the new level one, that does nothing. So, and then there was a couple other ones, and I'm like, this could be really good for this matchup. I think there was a Vegito as well that I think it helped me in my first matchup with Vinny when I won, and then I think I hit Vegito with it as well.
mm. Yeah,
But yeah,
I generally find that it's like it's just you can't not run this card in a lot of decks. You can't cheat Wallbreaker, can't cheat Anger Hit, and I think your only other Anger Hit card in the deck is Android Twin Beam. So like your Anger Hit isn't there.
hmm
Um, it's not very
yeah, that or
splashable
if
in red.
I'm right, and you can't rely on the crit from the mastery to do that because a lot of times I'm not leveling with a styled effect, and the damage can be blocked and whatnot. But
Oh, that's fair. Uh, yeah, I don't
so
know.
that would be the weakness. If my opponent's MPPV, that could be the weakness. Um, I think in the first match I lost actually was to Joey, who opened up with a double beam cannon, and then the next combat another double beam cannon. I never had an answer for it, so he kind of just played that kind of game where Piccolo gets his name cards that he needs, and then the last matchup in the finals with Vinny, it was actually pretty slow to start off from both sides, which was surprising, and then he finally just got the kill hand on me, which I detailed a little bit in the report. But yeah,
Mm,
it wasn't a terrible matchup. It's probably about a 50-50.
yeah. Um, yeah. No, I think it's really cool. I'm glad that you ran commanding for one because I do think commanding's not a terrible. I think it's like kind of a B tier mastery, maybe A tier. It's not a bad mastery. It's not like overwhelmingly powerful. I think the biggest thing limiting it is the card pool is very very limited in what you can kind of I feel like run with it. I know people have
hmm
experimented with ball and stuff, but as far as like energy aggro, I feel like you're running most of the staples here. I think if you can't run twin beams, you're really losing out running this mastery, which sucks if you're saying. But
hmm
um,
Yeah, that's definitely true.
but again, I think it's really cool. I'm glad that you ran it. Congratulations on the run, and
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know how much power level you got for that event. Are you going to be TOP now or?
Well, after I get the deck list and stuff to, or I think Joey has most of the deck list. I think I still have to get him like one or two from. There was two OP events. This one I believe I got 500 from, and then I won the time chamber with Knowledge Piccolo, so I think that's 1,000. So I think if I'm right, I should have like 4,000 power level. So I'm in.
Damn. No, congrats,
It's
man.
mostly Gen Con events. That's the only event I get to go to now. So.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you're interested in Hirabu or you're interested in a commanding deck, I think this is obviously a great example of something that you could be playing. Hirabu, of course, very versatile, and Commanding Master, of course, having some awesome synergy with Boo, as Casey's kind of ran through and mentioned. Again, maybe you might look at this deck and think of some different card choices, but honestly, I think this mostly is, like I said, I think this looks pretty solid, and I think you did a great job of
Yeah.
explaining a lot of the card choices to me. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And like Frank said, if you're looking to play it, don't cut Burning Rage. Trust me.
Yeah, I think that card's amazing. As far I've been playing commanding lately myself, and been MVP card in my opinion. So, but anyway, guys, as always, check out for more builds. There'll be more stuff coming from other people as the season keeps going on for OP. And yeah, keep out there, get playing. Check out the Fancy data log and game report as well. Just a shout out for that one. And
Mm.
log those games, and so we have some fun data for everybody. Anyway, guys, take it easy. Peace.